Hello again, Year 1. I'm going to go through your next lot of science. So, your learning for this science lesson is we are learning to explore everyday materials which are absorbent or non-absorbent. Okay, and the rocket words are sponge, absorb, swell, non-absorbent, oil, and spill. So, all of those words are just they're your key words for you that you'll be using and learning about today. So I want you to have a think about why sponges are useful. So why do we use sponges? Why are they good? And why do we use sponges for washing and for cleaning? So the rocket words here are on the screen. So you've got sponge, absorb, swell, non-absorbent, oil, spill. So I'll talk you through those. So sponge is a piece of soft porous material which absorbs water quickly. Absorb means to take in or soak up a liquid. Swell means become larger in size, typically as a result of taking in fluid or like a liquid. Non-absorbent is a material that is not capable of soaking up water. So it just means that it does not soak up water. So it's the opposite to absorbent. And these materials can be what we call waterproof. And then oil spill is when a big ship carrying oil accidentally spills some of that oil into the ocean, which you may hear about sometimes on the news. So what does absorb mean? So absorb means to soak something up. Okay, so let's look at materials that can do this. So sponges and cotton are very good at absorbing liquids. In April 2010, a large oil tanker accidentally spilled 200 million gallons of oil into the sea in a place called the Gulf of Mexico, which you can always type and have a look where that is. A bit of geography for you. So 4 years after the disaster, oil was still washing ashore. So the oil was still coming up onto the beaches. The huge oil spill was difficult to clean up and affected the fisheries, animals, and ecosystems for years. So the oil was killing all the animals, and it was quite sad that the animals were dying, lots of animals were dying and being washed up dead from the oil. One thing that helped clean up the oil was cottons. They were using cotton to support that. In order to work on oil spills, the cotton needs to take up oil but not water. So cotton has a natural type of waxy coating that does this. So it absorbs the oil but repels the water. So have a think, what does repel mean? So you can pause here and have a think. And repel just means the opposite to absorb. So it doesn't soak up the water, it moves away from it. So although cotton absorbs oil well, scientists are trying to find ways to make it even more absorbent. If they do, it could save even more wildlife and animals affected by such oil spills. Many animals and birds die when the oil spill occurs because they drink the oil and it's obviously very dangerous, very strong. So I want you to talk to your partners to explain to one another or talk to somebody at home what absorbent means. Think of two materials which absorb and two which do not. Give you some time there. So two materials which absorb water and two which do not. 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, so what is a sponge? Do you have one in your bathroom or in the kitchen? So they are made of loose fibres that has lots of spaces between them. And then when it's placed in water, the holes fill up with water and then the sponge swells up so it becomes larger where it soaks up all the water. The water that has been absorbed stays in the sponge when it is lifted out the rest of the water. So when you squeeze it, you are forcing the holes out of the sponge. Did you know that a wet sponge will absorb more water than a dry sponge? The water molecules are attracted to the water already in the sponge and transfer into the sponge to be with them. So just when there's a dry sponge, the wetter it gets, the more it soaks up. So try putting a sponge into some water and see how much it can absorb. Then try it twice, once with a dry sponge, then again with a wet sponge to test them. So see when you squeeze the water out, which one squeezes more water out. Can you hold a wet sponge up in the air without any water falling out? So have a try with that as well. And then have a try it using a flannel and do the same thing with the flannel and see which one takes up more water. Was it the flannel or the sponge? And then have a think, based on your knowledge from this and absorbent materials and the materials being used, okay, you're going to do a little experiment to see which materials absorb the most water, so you can predict them. Skip this one. And then once you have to think about what things around your house that absorb water, have a look at them. By looking at them, can you have a guess? Do they absorb water and soak up the water, or do they not? And then your experiment. This is your mission, okay? So you're going to be scientists and you're going to test the absorbency of different materials. So you're going to try out materials in your home, so you can draw a picture of them, and then you're going to test them and see which is the most absorbent, which is the least absorbent or non-absorbent, and how much water they soak up. So think about which materials you think will be very absorbent. Why do all the materials need to be the same size? And why do we only dip the materials 1 centimetre in the water? Okay, so when you're carrying out your test, you need your materials, if you can, to try and keep it as fair as possible, to be the same size and to dip them in the same amount so that it's a fair test. Otherwise, the results might be different. I will put up a sheet, or there will be a sheet, something like this. So you can use this one to help you if you like, which is a table made up for you for your experiment, or you can record it in your own way, which is also fine as well. And then you can share these on the parent support email. So just go over the key words again. So sponge, a piece of soft porous material which absorbs water quickly. Absorb, to take in or soak up a liquid. Swell, become larger in size, typically as a result of taking in a fluid. Non-absorbent, a material that is not capable of soaking up water. These materials can be waterproof. An oil spill, when a big ship carrying oil accidentally spills oil into the ocean. So again, just to recap. Okay, thank you for joining me for your learning today.